What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to show you how to complete all 15 achievements from the Great Dark Beyond so you can get 100% on the achievements. I did it in 1 week, so you don't have to. You can take your time. There is a lot to cover, though. I have a deck list for every achievement, so you can just check it in the info on the corner, or you can use the timestamps in the description to get to the achievement that you want to complete. There are 15 of them. Before we get into the deck list, I want to show you one thing. The neutral ones, obviously, there's one achievement for every class, but then there are also 4 neutral ones. So it behooves you, since all of these neutral ones are farming achievements, that you incorporate these items into all of your decks. So you'll notice that many of my decks have Draenei in them so that we can get the 300 Draenei. Many of my beginning decks had the Ceaseless Expanse in there. And you know what? The Ceaseless Expanse turns out to be a pretty good card. You'll complete this pretty quickly. Many of my decks had Spell Burst in it, and many of my decks had a Starship as a game plan. So you'll notice that those packages are in there. I wouldn't say that any of those packages are necessarily good or bad. They did seem interesting at some points, but you know, I played all my decks with completing these achievements in mind. All right. The second point, and I always bring this up, is that if speed is what your goal is, like you just want to achieve or complete the achievements as quick as possible, then winning has to be secondary. Now, it is very, very possible, and it's very, very easy. Well, I don't say easy, but it's very, very probably reliable to be able to complete the achievements and win the games. That is fairly simple, but I wouldn't say that if you're looking to farm it or complete it early, that would be possible. Instead, I think it makes a lot of sense to just lose first. So like once you complete, like maybe you only have 4 starship pieces in a deck, summon your starships. If there's no other achievement you can complete, and the game is maybe 50-50, you don't know if you're going to win, then you should just concede, because it's just faster. But anyway, let's pass all of that. Let's get straight into it. The first one is Death Knight. Catch these hands and destroy 200 cards with the 8 hands from Beyond effect. We don't have to go too far for this one. If you are a fan of my channel, then you already know about my Death Knight deck that we were playing, that I showcased in a previous video. You can see that video in the corner up there. And that is the deck that I played here. So this one is the 8 hands from Beyond Double Blood control deck. I won't talk about this particular list too much, but the idea is simple. You played 8 hands from Beyond as early and as early as possible in the game. That is it, okay? So he likely will destroy somewhere between 16 to 20 cards for each player, meaning you're looking at destroying 32 to 40 of the total cards necessary, and you need to do 200. So you need to get somewhere between 5 to, I would say, 8 or 9 games of having played 8 hands from the Beyond to complete this. It is relatively easy. This is very simple. You just have to play the card a lot. Draenei together strong. Play a group of 7 crewmates. This one I thought this was going to be very hard, but I was able to get this in my second or first game, and I used this particular list right here. This is a DH list. Now, how this works is a crewmate. Crewmates are this new mechanic only for Demon Hunter, and what it is crewmates are 4 mana 4/4 units that are in your hand, and if there's another crewmate next to it, then you summon both. Right? Or if there's like 6 crewmates next to each other, you play one, all 6 get summoned. And each crewmate has a special ability. Like they have stealth, they have divine shield, they might have wind fairy, they might have poisonous. Each one has a unique ability assigned to it. Now, to generate crewmates, there's a number of ways. And I think, honestly, quite frankly, without Deirdre, this will be difficult for many players. But so Deirdre, what she does is shuffle 8 of them into your deck, and she also draws one when you die. And she is not a crewmate, by the way. So you have to get 7 separate crewmates. So there's Deirdre, she'll shuffle them in your deck. Other ways to create crewmates Voronai will put them a new one in your hand, and Headhunt puts one in your hand as well. Okay, so the idea here is to reach a point where you only have crewmates in your hand, and then you just play the big turn when you fill out the board. And you can see how I did that in that video. The shell that I have here, this is just a Draenei / crewmate shell. So that's why you'll notice I went with this package of Astral Vigilant, because Astral Vigilant allows you to copy where's that guy? Voronai, so that you get another chance to bring another crewmate in your hand. And I just, I have Ceaseless Expanse in here, of course. So remember, I was just trying to play to complete the quest. I did not play Starships in this one because I just thought it was way too weak to do both crewmates and Starships in one deck. I thought that was just torturing myself. So, but anyway, I completed in two tries, so it wasn't that bad. The next one up we have is Druid. Discover 16 minions with the Final Frontier. The Final Frontier is an interesting card, but the reality is that it is just a fun card in my opinion. It is not that good, but there are cool kind of synergies that I'd like to talk about. And I think that is one of the good things about the achievement experience. It lets players play, test, and experiment with cards that on paper maybe don't seem that great at all, and will get no play at all. But with forcing you to complete these achievements, lets you experiment it and kind of test out a bunch of different things. So the Final Frontier is an arcane spell, 7 mana. Discover a 10 cost minion from the past that make it cost 1. So basically you play 8 mana for a 10 cost minion. Problem is, when you look at 10 cost minions, there are a bunch of shitty ones. Okay, there are a bunch of good ones. So the quest for this one is to summon 16 unique ones. Now, just so you know, the pool has over 50. So you'll be able to you'll be able to complete this at some point. However, I would still strongly suggest that you keep a tracker. So you take some notepad or something if you're actively trying to farm this, and write down every 10 cost minion so that you don't bother, resummoning one that you already played earlier in your grind. What you see here, this is just an interesting ramp deck that I have. It does include a little bit of Starships, so you can get that completed. We have Exodar, we got Ceaseless Expanse. By the way, Exodar also, when you launch a Starship, that also counts for launching, the pieces of the Starship. We got Arcanite, Defense Crystal. But a couple cool things that this deck has is Starlight Reactor has good synergies with Arcane. So if you can stick this on turn 10, you can play this into double Final Frontier, right? So you can get 2 minions, which is pretty cool. I don't think I actually did that many times, but what I did do many times was Starlight Reactor into this Distress Signal, summon 2 random 2 cost minions, refresh 2 mana crystals. I did that quite often, and I got a lot of mana back. Exarch Oathar is pretty good. Like, honestly, there is a shell here with arcane cards. Where's Cosmic Phenomena? This also got pretty crazy with its synergy with Starlight Reactor. So Starlight Reactor, while originally a really crappy card in my opinion, it's actually not that bad at all. It's actually pretty decent. And I didn't do enough arcane research, but let's see what you can get here. It looks like there's quite a bit of arcane options, so there's something cool here. But yeah, I would say that this was relatively easy to complete. It's just a long farm, and that's what I didn't like about it. This was one of the quests that I did not like them very well, because you're not really playing to win games. Like, I would say, like, banking on finding the 10 mana creature to help you secure the game was much more difficult than it was helpful. So that was Druid. Next up we have Hunter, and Hunters is called Alien versus Enemy. Attack 80 times with the beast summoned by the extraterrestrial egg. So the egg is a 2 mana 0/2 egg. Pull it up for you right now. here we go. The 2-mana 0/2 egg, summon a 3/5 beast that attacks the lowest health enemy. And you get the egg burster here. And I always love the flavor. Right here, you got this alien from the Alien franchise in here. And it pops out here out of the sack into this egg burster. And, you know, to paying homage to the Alien franchise, okay? So anyway, the cool thing about this is when it comes out, this is a 3/5 that you can get out early. So the question is how can we utilize the egg to be more effective? So this is a mystery egg deck, where I just included the starship pieces as well as the egg, right? So the obvious synergy here is yelling yodeler with extraterrestrial egg, but there are a few other synergies too. You can play Ravenous Kraken to break your egg and get you an extra egg. You can play Niall and the Scout to get more eggs. There are different ways. The egg is close to being incredibly good. A 3/5 minion on 2 or 3 or 4 is very good, okay? Especially you can imagine 2 3/5s on turn 4 or with the coin. Like, I think that is very strong. So this is the deck list I played though. I mean, you know, it has starship pieces. Yelling Yodeler also has very good synergy with the Hunter starship pieces. So one Biopod, for instance, is Death Rattle, deal damage equal to the minion's attack to a random enemy. So you can imagine building up a relatively big starship, let's say like 610 or, you know, something similar, launching it, and then using Yelling Yodeler to activate its Death Rattle twice. And a few times I won the game off of that, like doing like 24 damage or something. So I thought it was pretty cool. This is the deck. I mean, you know, you can do whatever you want. This one is pretty achievable. Now you have to attack with the minion 80 times. So that means not necessarily hatching the egg 80 times, but just attacking with the guy that comes out of it. So, you know, there are a variety of ways to actually do this. It wasn't very difficult. 80 is a lot easier than you think. Give this deck a try. I think it's pretty cool. So that was Hunter. Up next, we have Mage. Mage is spatial awareness. I did not record any video of me completing this. I think I just took a screenshot because I did this while I was in vacation in Japan. And I actually don't, for the sake of showing you the deck, I'll show you the deck I played, but I don't recommend this, okay? So I played this deck right here, and it's a pretty interesting deck that revolves around Dark Moon Magician and Rayla, and it plays cards that you don't never see play, like Lifeguard, which I think is much better than people have given it credit, and people should revisit this card. That said, I wouldn't play this. Instead, I would play Elemental Mage, and then just find a way to fit 2 Pocket Dimensions into your deck. So take out 2 cards and put in 2 Pocket Dimension. It's just better, a better play experience. Pocket Dimension is 4 mana, discover spell. You repeat it until you see one for the second time. So this just refuels and refills your hand, and I think it is a pretty cool card. My strategy was to look for cards that are cheap, or that draw more cards, so that it was easy to play. This is a simple one if your deck is good. So I would say just play a good deck, fit in 2 Pocket Dimensions, and play it as necessary. Very simple achievement. Moving on to Paladin. The Paladin achievement is play 150 Librams. Is it? Yeah, play 150 Librams for 0 mana. This was one of the most fun ones for sure. Librams definitely need more support. They are much better than people are giving them credit for. Librams are pretty fucking decent. So, if you don't know how Librams work, so let me show you. A Libram is something like this, a 4 mana card like Libram of Divinity that gives a minion +3/+3. If it costs 0, then it goes to your hand at the end of the turn. So it's like a unlimited, and then it's like an unlimited minion buff, right? once per turn at least, right? So the Libram support are all these cards that do stuff with Libram. So this one, it has a spell burst to draw a Libram and a battle cry. This weapon, when you play it and when its death rattles, it reduces the cost of your Librams by 1. This guy reduces the cost of your Librams by 1. There are a bunch of, this one gives you 3 of the older Librams, right? There are a bunch of different ways to take advantage of the Libram, right? So you can imagine if you play a weapon and you get rid of the weapon, you're reducing your Librams by 2. Then you play this, you're reducing them by 3. And if you play them again, you're reducing them by 4. Okay? So that means Librams like this one, drawing 2 minions, and this one will be free. There is this minion that's a little, or Libram, which is a little more expensive, 6, and it would be very difficult to get this to 0, but there are ways, and we'll talk about them. So this deck is a Draenei deck that also has Ceaseless Expanse, right? Because you need to play it. And Sunsnapper Lynessa, and this was really, really fun. All right, you don't need all these cards, like you don't need Lumia, but I think cards that are important to keep are all the Libram based cards, as well as Holy Cowboy. So Holy Cowboy is the way that you get something like the Libram of Faith discounted to 0, because if your Librams are discounted at 4 and you play a Holy Cowboy, then this will be 0. However, that said, this doesn't need to be 0. 3/3 minions with Divine Shield, that's good at 4 mana. So even if you discounted this card to like something like 3 or 2, it's perfectly fine. Giving them rush is just added gravy. But the cool thing, like if you're looking to farm this, what I would do is just like obviously don't play the Librams until they're 0, and then look for a turn where you can play Sunsapper Lynessa, and then double up on all your 0 cost Librams, and it's just freaking crazy. Like you can get big bodies. There's a creature that I was playing in here. I ended up taking him out for just more synergy, or for more efficiency in the quest, but I was flickering Lightbot, and I think it works really well in this deck. So if you have this and you're looking to substitute a card, I would suggest maybe giving that a look. Astral Vigilant in any deck that revolves around a strong Draenei, this will be an important addition, because it gives you another copy of that card. So I was using this most often to copy the 4 mana guy, the Interstellar Wayfarer. So anyway, that is that deck. This took a little bit of time, but it was very, very fun, and it was, to me, that achievement was one of the most interesting ones, because Librams are actually not too bad, like I said, and I would like to see more high-level players experiment more with the Libram package and see what they can bring to their game. All right, that was Paladin. We're moving on very nicely. Priest. Holy Ship. Trigger Cure the Light Beyond effect 6 times in 1 turn. Now we're going to do a little bit of technicality here so we can determine how to do Cure's quest, okay? So what Cure does is she's a 3 mana 3/3 spell burst, summon a random 3 cost minion. Now if you play holy spells, you don't remove the spell burst. So there's obviously a restriction here, and I'm getting this to work, and so that we have to play holy spells. The good thing about Priest right now is they have a good amount of cheap spells to help fight and make their board strong. Like Light Speed, very good, and it's an echo type of card. Orbital Halo, it can cost 0. You know, you got Power Chord Synchronized to give yourself another Cure. There are ways to make this deck very, very, ways to make Priest's early game very strong. Now, remember, the quest is to summon 6 minions off of this card, which means you'll need a clear board, because you'll need to play him, and then you'll need to have the 6 minions come out. The other thing is there are no 0 cost holy spells in standard, so what you're going to have to do is you're going to need 3 mana for Cure, assuming that you're playing him full price, and then you'll need at least 6 mana for spells. The problem is, in 1 mana spells, there's not that many. right? You got 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means you're gonna have to spend a couple more mana. So you have 7 mana. So you have to spend a couple more mana somehow to get the 2 more casts. But remember, you only have 10 total mana. So there are 2 ways about this. You can include something like the audio guy, audio amplifier, so that you have more mana in hand. But I didn't necessarily do that. Instead, I just made sure that I had an orbital halo, so that I could get a card for free. And Holy Spring Water is also another option for a 1 mana cost holy card, right? So there are a bunch of ways to do it. It is pretty easy to do. It's not too difficult. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And that kind of synergy is cool. I just don't know if this is strong enough as a card. So I would say that it was an interesting achievement. It was a one and done, right? You just have to complete it one time. But, you know, I don't know. I couldn't wrap my head around creatively how to make the Cure kind of idea work. It didn't work out for me. So I'm not voting too highly on the value of that card. Rogue. So launch a starship with pieces from 6 different classes. There was one achievement in this entire run that I strongly disliked, and it was this one. Now, Rogue is a starship class. The problem with Rogue is that it has, like, you know, it has the best, like, starship support card, and that card is the Gravitational Displacer. You can see that right here. This is the best Rogue, or this is the best starship card of all of the starship cards in my opinion, because you summon a copy when it's summoned. This is great, but Rogue's other starship support is relatively poor. Okay, you have cards like Dispel, which discovers a starship from another class. This guy, which is a death rattle, so you don't even get it immediately. You have to kill it off, but you get a random starship piece. And then its spell is this. Now remember, the thing said to build a starship with 6 different class starship pieces. And just so you know, that's how many classes have starships. So, all the extra starship stuff, like neutral ones, it doesn't matter because they don't count to the achievement. So you need to get one from Hunter, you need to get one from Warlock, you need to get one from Rogue. Obviously, you need to play this one. You need to get the one from Druid. You need to get one from Death Knight. And you need to get one from whatever the last class that I'm forgetting is. I don't even know. I'm not sure what I'm missing right now. Anyway, back to the deck list. Where is that? The point is, what I'm trying to say is this is very challenging in a class where 2 of the ones that you get are random. So you could end up with something like 2 Death Knight ones right off the bat, and that would greatly decrease the chances of you completing this quest. It is a bitch of a quest because, ideally, in an ideal world, you play your 2 Scrounging Shipwrights first. Maybe you copy it with like something like Astral Vigilant, and you pray to God that you get 3 different classes, and then you go to then you would use your starship schematic to discover the ones from different classes that you don't have, and then hopefully you can play it, right? So this is very difficult. I don't know how else to put it. This is very challenging to complete, especially in a ladder full of elemental mages, right? So the way I completed was, I thought this was the most fun way to play, and it also helped me with other quests, was to put it into Quasar Rogue. And my idea was simple. Obviously, like most Quasar Rogue decks, you want to play Quasar as quick as possible, and Knick-Knack Shack, so I kind of kept those, well, I at least kept Knick-Knack Shack in my mulligans. But I was also okay with keeping starships schematics and the Scrounging Shipwright. Oh, sorry, my voice is crazy right now. So that I could get these starship pieces out early, And then after playing Quasar, then I'm just like casting everything in my hand so I can finally clear out all my starships, and then I'm just launching the starship. So that was my game plan, and eventually it did work. And I had the most fun of all rogue decks using this kind of shell. Do I think it's a good shell? The shell is good, but the win condition of starships is not good in this particular build, but it was fun. So give that a try. It's going to help you complete the Spellburst quest. It'll get you to your, your Starship one as well, hopefully. But yeah, this was the list. There are a couple synergistic cards you need to keep in mind. Astral Vigilant, obviously, to copy Scrounging Shipwright. Tide Pupil to copy Schematic, which requires a little bit of finagling and playing around with. And you'll need those. You'll need that in order to complete the quest, because there's no way to play the 6 classes without getting extra copies of either cards from the Shipwright or from the Schematic. So you're going to need Pupil or Astral Vigilant to make sure you actually do it. It is quite difficult. I would consider that the most difficult achievement from this expansion, and I did not like it at all, and I hope Blizzard does not make more RNG based achievements. I think that was just horrible. So anyway, almost done. Couple more. Shaman, deal 500 damage with asteroids. I mean, you guys don't need my help on this one. It's fucking so simple. Where is Shaman? Here is just a simple asteroid deck. And an asteroid is from this new kind of mechanic unique to Shaman. Well, I guess it's not unique to Shaman, but cast when drawn. When you draw this card, it deals 2 damage to a random enemy. And Shaman has all these cards that shuffle them into the deck. So, and I think this is actually a pretty strong type of archetype. But I think a lot of people are playing this wrong. First of all, let me tell you this. If you run Insidious in your deck and you have shuffled Eruptions in your deck, you should prioritize copying Eruptions over copying asteroids. Okay? So your cards like Triangulate that discovers a different spell in your deck, you should copy the Eruptions and not Meteor, because Eruptions hit everything on the board. So effectively, imagine there's like, I don't know, 4 minions with 2 health on the opponent's board, maybe 1 with 3 health. 1 Eruption will take care of most of that. 1 asteroid will only take care of 1 minion, which means your future asteroids have to soak up more of that damage on board. But Eruptions will clear everything. So you definitely want to copy Eruptions when you get the chance, alright? But anyway, aside from that, this class is pretty easy. All you gotta do is enjoy playing Meteor Shaman. I completed this one relatively quickly. I want to say this was something that was like 7 games, 6 games. It was fast. Like, you got all these cards, Bullhide, Behemoth, Shellburst, shuffle 3 of them into your deck. Like, there are great synergies here. This is a great deck to kind of complete your quest pretty quickly. Easy quest. I'd like to, it was 500 asteroid damage, which I thought was a little bit high, but it was actually very, very easy to do. So, fun quest. Warlock, this was the easiest quest in the game. I didn't want to even, after doing the rogue one, I was like, I don't want to bother with any complexity. And unfortunately, this was the only quest I did in Wild. And all I did was just play, Demon, what do you call this? What do you call this? Quest lock. So, if you're not familiar with the Wild format, there's a quest called the Demon Seed. Where you got to take damage on your turns, and your reward is a better card. In this case, that is eventually Blightborn Tamsin, and her battle cry is for the rest of the game: damage you take on your turn, damage your opponent instead. So basically, what Questline Warlock players is for the first 3-4 turns, they they damage themselves, draw out their deck, then they play Tamsin, and then they kill you. It's a cool deck. But the true engine of this deck, the reason why it works so strong, is Dark Glare. 3 mana, 3/4, after hero takes damage, refresh a mana crystal. So basically what you're waiting for is a turn 4 or a turn 3 where you can play Dark Glare and draw through your entire deck with free stuff. It is so simple. Just remember that you need 16 health or whatever to get the achievement. And you have to use the Hearthstone, obviously. So very, very easy. By far the easiest one. And this one is a good one to climb with. If I decide to play some more Wild this season, I will give this a run. Kobold Monk is a pretty dope card, so this is good for the what do you call it, the Paladin one? Holy Wrath Paladin matchup, right? Because you can hide your hero. So anyway, that's that deck. Easy achievement. Then the last class one is Warrior. We'll talk about that quickly, and then I'll just share a couple more decks that'll help you achieve some of the neutral ones. So Warrior one is give your hero plus 16 attack with a single Unyielding Vindicator's battlecry. Draenei, a warrior, mid-range warrior, is pretty good, and not enough people are giving it a try. It's quite good. So Unyielding Warrior is this guy. Battlecry, the next Draenei you play gives your hero its attack for that turn. And Warrior Draenei's are the best Draenei's. They are so strong. You got cards like Stalwart, Avenger, Imagine, immune while attacking. At the end of each turn, swap this means attack and health. So if you were to play Unyielding Vindicator into Stalwart, you're going to get +7 attack, right? Now, the Draenei synergy really is buffing cards in hands. It's like a hand buff type of class, or well, mechanic. So what I've done here is I've created Astral Vigilant to kind of copy some of these hand buffers, and then you got stuff like Starlight Wanderer. The Great Mace gives Draenei +2 attack. You got you got this for Spellburst, like Expedition Sergeant. You got all these ways. And what I added into the deck was some removal like Char, so that you can kill a unit and then you can buff a creature or a minion in your hand more. And the idea here is simple, get something with +16 attack, and then play it and then attack with your hero. It took a couple games, just because like I was either just winning much too quick or I was getting burnt out by a elemental mage. But it was relatively simple to do, and I think it was actually really fun. So give that one a try. And as for the neutral achievements, the 4, Ceaseless Expanse, I mean, there's no way around it. You just play Ceaseless Expanse when you can. The Draenei one, obviously you're going to have to play Draenei decks. I think if you do the Warrior and the Demon Hunter, you'll get to it relatively quickly. I just got through that through the course of the games. The Spellburst and the Starship ones will probably take a lot longer. So what I recommend is to play this deck, and this deck is so fun. This is my version of Demon Warlock with the Starships, and it's pretty cool. So Demon Warlock revolves around Archimon, summon every demon you play that didn't start in your deck, and kill Jaden, right? Which is giving you a endless deck of demons that just get bigger and bigger. Kill Jaden is a nutty card. This is very, very strong. But what I've added are all these other demonic discover or generating cards to get you there towards a quicker endgame, right? So Foreboding Flame decreases their cost, and then you have cards like Demonic Studies. You got Bad Omen. You got all these like demon generators, so that you can play out these cards later, and then you've just supported it with the Starship package, which gives you lifesteal and also this removal, right? Deal this minion's attack damage to 2 random enemy pieces. And what I liked about the reason why this one is called Starship and Spellburst is because this is how, after completing all the achievements, this is how I farmed the remaining points for Starship and Spellburst, because you got 2 different units that can give you, well, 3 actually, 3 ways to get Spellburst. You have a bunch of Starship pieces. Kara is actually pretty cool in here. There's a Shadow Abduction Ray. This is repeatable, so you can play something like Kara on turn 10 and then Abduction Ray 3 times, or whatever kind of weird combo. So yeah, this was the deck I played, and I was able to complete the Spellburst one. I was still like 50 Starship pieces short, So I would just recommend playing something like this, which is, this is also double blood, but you'll notice it doesn't run the game-breaking double blood cards like Soul Stealer. Instead, it adds the Starship Shell. So Guiding Figure, because it has Spell Burst, and then Soulbound Spire, it has Death Rattle. And the reason why I suggest this deck is because Brittlebone Buccaneer is here, so that you can give your Death Rattles like Arcanite Defensive Crystal and the Spire Reborn, right? Which makes this trying to achieve that quest a lot easier. And what I would do with Exodar when I was trying to farm these last few achievements for the Starship was I would pick the one that gave you 1 mana versions of it, just so I could play more and then launch it again. And then, you know, that was just like a faster way to farm it. But yeah, overall, I thought the achievements were all in all not too bad. I mean, aside from the Rogue one, which is absurd, and I guess you know the length of some of these like neutral ones was kind of long, but I thought overall the most of the achievements were pretty well thought out and pretty cool. I just hope that those cards actually are good. But I guess even as a designer, you never know if the cards that you make will be that good. Like, you know, maybe they're gonna miss the mark. But I thought Blizzard's done a pretty good job, and I would like to see players try out more decks with these cards in them, because they're not that bad. And you know, let me know in the comments if you had another deck or another way to farm any of these quicker than I did. That's all cool with me. And let me know if you have decks. More importantly, let me know if you have decks that utilize any of these cards in a better way, like that, like in a competitive way. I think that is very cool. And like for me, one card that strikes me outside of Librans, I thought they were very good, but one card that strikes me as very interesting was Pocket Dimension. And I want to see like a spell, like a minionless mage with just all burn or something, and then Pocket Dimension to kind of like find the last few burn cards. I think that might be an interesting idea. And actually, you know what, after this video, I'm going to see if I can create something like that. But yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it was very long, but hey, there was a lot to talk about. Enjoy, and I'll see you next time.